For Christ has been reborn to both of you.
Wow. Such a sentence. And in this choice is learning's outcome changed. For Christ has been reborn to both of you. So, how has the Christ been reborn to both of you? It is reborn to both of you when you choose to walk together. This is very important. It can't be reborn to you as long as you are maintaining any degree of separation, of distance. It can't be reborn as long as you are practicing defense, self-protection. And so if you would find the Christ reborn in you as your conscious experience of yourself, you're going to have to find a way to dare to be innocent with your brother or your sister. I do not mean innocent of bad behavior. I mean being present with them innocently, being with them without preconceptions, being with them without ancient hatreds, being with them without holding the past between yourself and them. The Christ can't be reborn in both of you until you feel the need for each other and let it happen. Meaning, let the need be felt. And then proceed together, giving each other the benefit of the doubt constantly, caring enough to hang in there through whatever might come up in the process of both of you finding out even more clearly how completely you are the Christ. But you see, it's interesting. You can't be the Christ independently. There is no way to stand up and say, I am the Christ.
I alone.
Exactly, I alone. The only way your Christhood can be your conscious experience of being is when you allow for the possibility of the Christhood of your brother, and even more, stand in confirmation of that truth about your brother. You won't feel it until you dare to be defenseless with a brother who you were convinced was your opponent or your enemy. Or even just someone you didn't know too well but didn't care to get to know any better either. Whatever is being used to keep a distance will block that birth in your conscious awareness of what it means to be the Christ. Because you know, what it means to be the Christ isn't at all special. It isn't glorious. It's experienced at a much more fundamental level. It's experienced as the ability to be unafraid with your brother, as the ability to be genuinely present with and on behalf of your brother. Being the Christ is experienced not as a high, but rather as a deep calm, out of which an unimaginable love can come forth and be expressed no matter what has gone on before. No matter what even might be going on in the moment that this extension of Christhood is being made. Sometimes, when you see and feel the Christ in another, that other one may not yet be feeling it and may not be behaving consistently with the peace and the calm and the genuineness and the love that's coming forth from you, and which you have no doubt whatsoever is the same fundamental truth about them. But because the Christ in you has been awakened, their behavior doesn't push the buttons that it used to when you were not coming from that place of the Christ reborn in you. And so whether it's seen by them as something that allows them instantaneously to give them permission, to give themselves permission to feel the Christ of themselves, you are a benign presence, a benign but meaningful presence. That you might say fertilizes the territory, nurtures the territory in which the other one is feeling uncomfortable, and makes it viable, makes it liable to the discovery of their Christhood for themselves. Let us continue.
An instant spent without your old ideas of who your great companion is and what he should be asking for will be enough to let this happen. And you will perceive his purpose.
So simple. An instant, not an hour, not a month, an instant spent what? Absent your old ideas, absent your old concepts, an instant of having abandoned your convictions about who your great companion is and what he should be asking for will be enough to let this happen. Continue.
And you will perceive his purpose is the same as yours. He asks for what you want and needs the same as you. It takes perhaps a different form in him, but it is not the form you answer to. He asks and you receive, for you have come with but one purpose, that you both may learn you love each other with a brother's love. And as a brother must his father be the same as yours, as he is like yourself.
Together is your joint inheritance remembered and accepted by you both, Alone it is denied to both of you. Is it not clear that while you still insist on leading or on following, you think you walk alone with no one by your side? This is the road to nowhere, for the light cannot be given while you walk alone, and so you cannot see which way you go. And thus there is confusion and a sense of endless doubting as you stagger back and forward in the darkness and alone. Yet these are but appearances of what the journey is and how it must be made. For next to you is one who holds the light before you, so that every step is made in certainty and sureness of the road. A blindfold can indeed obscure your sight, but cannot make the way itself grow dark. And he who travels with you has the light.
It would be well to write that on a piece of paper and hang it on your refrigerator door. He who travels with you has the light. That's not what you believe. That's not what you are conditioned to think. That's not what everyone's bad behavior, which occurs as a result of their being ignorant of the fact that they have the light, teaches you. And so it is well to have a reminder that you can see every day. You might even put it on the wall across from your toilet so that you will be sure to encounter it at least once a day, so that you can remind yourself that there is something more going on in your fellow man than his conditionings and his firm convictions that he has come to based upon inadequate information about you or about people in his life, so that you might be reminded that no matter how another presents himself or herself, the presentation is probably not coming from a place of groundedness in what is true about them, and therefore you would be foolish to treat their presentation as though it were true, even if they're firmly convinced of it. Because until someone begins to dare to have a vision different from the status quo, there is no way for a clearer light to penetrate the beliefs and the conditionings. There is no way for you to be an agent for change in another's life. So you must be willing to take the unusual and perhaps radical stance that not only is your brother the Christ and your sister the Christ, but he or she has the light. What light? What light? What light does he or she have?
The Christ light.
And what difference would that make to you? The microphone.
If you were the only Christ, I mean, if there was not some other Christ to be looking at, boy, that would be pretty dull. You know, that would be an empty thing. I mean, even if these gurus, these self-professed gurus that say, that are talking about how they're the ones that know and everybody else had better listen to them, they must be having a pretty bad time of it, because they don't get to enjoy all this reflection that could be coming back to them. I think about that a lot, you know.
That is exactly the point. Exactly the point. The light your brother has is the light that illuminates you. The light they have is the light that blesses you and helps you realize your Christhood. The light they have is the light that shines the way for you.
Whether they recognize it.
That is absolutely correct.
Because there really would be such a thing as lack if somebody had it and somebody else didn't.
That is correct.
And that's the whole imbalance that we're dealing with, is that there could be something or someone that didn't have the truth about it, even though it may be shrouded by an ignorance currently held.
That is correct.
To see through the ignorance is seeing through the veil, isn't it?
Exactly.
And not believe it. That's the hard thing, is if they're believing it and throwing it up, and it can look real interesting even, and that's been holding us all in check here, the playing with that.
Yes. You see, no matter how you perceive yourselves, no matter how ugly your determinations have become about yourself, you still can't stop being the Christ. You cannot alter what God has set in place as you. You cannot alter it from His intent. And so, in spite of the imaginations everyone gets involved in, all of you continue to be the light for each other. And so, even in your ignorances, you bring into play exactly the things that illuminate the points at which you're ready to grow. And so, when someone is in a particularly morose or critical or depressed state, and they express themselves in an ugly manner, you have the option to take what they're saying as though it's the gospel truth and respond to them as though they actually are their behavior. And in so doing, not grow at all yourself and remain stuck in the same place they are. Or you have the opportunity to recognize that they are shining the light on a capacity you have to express more love and compassion than you ever thought you could bring to bear upon an ugly situation. That you have the capacity not to react from the hip, from habit. It provides you with the opportunity to discover your capacity to stand with them in their dark moment without confirming their dark moment to them. And by virtue of not confirming it to them, providing them with a face-to-face provision of the fact that there is another way to look at what they're looking at, whether they opt for it at that moment or not. You see, every single fight, every single argument, every single testy relationship is really two Christs being the Christ with each other, even though both of them are seeing themselves and what is happening through a twisted, dark glass, you might say. But because they are the Christ, and because they have the light, and because that light is shining on both of them, you might say from opposite directions, there is always the opportunity for a breakthrough in one's perception to discover the opportunity to be the Christ that you are. And that's why you must always approach your relationships from the standpoint of there being a need to feel needy, that you need your brother. Because if you need your brother needs you. And if your brother needs you like you need your brother, then his or her obtuse behavior is a call for that which isn't being experienced at the moment. And if you know you need your brother as much as your brother needs you, then you know at the moment that what is called for is the willingness to hang in there with him or with her. With an unwillingness to judge on the basis of incomplete information, on the basis of an assessment of him or her that is anything less than that they're the Christ, that they are at that moment the direct expression of God just as you are. Until there is an experience of this need, there won't be the willingness to help, to be there for them, stand there for them, witness for them, even when they're arguing against your witnessing for them. It is so important because in the choice to go together, learning's outcome is changed, for the Christ has been reborn to both of you. It's so important to discover that a realization of the truth in your own mind will not whisk you off into the kingdom of heaven. You can't come home alone. You can't come home without connecting with your brother and not only remembering God, but remembering who you are and who they are, the Christ.
May I say something?
You may.
That statement you just made about it's not going to, realizing a truth or something like that, it's not going to whisk you off into heaven. It made me think about the fact that maybe that's why a lot of us have hedged on however waking up happens, because it's not a high. I mean, you don't get high from just the acceptance of your brother and this thing you call a deep calm that comes from it. And it's just coming to me now that experience is something that we so often, fall away from because we go about the experience of continuing these highs and lows that we're so used to, that don't give us that deep calm, but they make us somehow feel like something's going on.
Mm-hmm. Or seeking for a further high, or a more potent truth,
Yes.
or a better guru, or a better teaching.
So it's easy to decide, well, it's just not worth it to me, whatever is going on with that other person, or the dilemma possibly where there's a thought, well, I can make a choice here. I can choose to say, well, it's just not worth it to me. And then what I'm really proving is that I'm really not worth it. And that's the kind of hidden thing that's going on, that we just stay just blindsided to. And it always seems like it's somebody else.
And when the message that you're not worth it registers with you, then you get mad at them for uncovering this to you.
Right. Because it's very humiliating, and it dare not be exposed.
Which still keeps you distracted from the discovery that there is a different way for you to look at this, and that you have the choice to look with love, and you have a choice to consider the possibility that there's more to this other one than you are giving him or her credit for, and that there's something more to them, is God-derived, and not derived from their prior experience, from their upbringing, from the conditions of the world, or from their simple human beingness, that the something more is derived from God. Just as yours is. You know, it is impossible for you to treat another differently from how you treat yourself. And so what you do not allow for another, you do not allow for yourself. On the other hand, what you are firmly convinced about for yourself, you will fight tooth and nail to convince another is true for them.
And so often it is worthlessness.
So often?
It's worthlessness.
What is?
What you're proving. Yeah.
It is worthlessness, but also the truth you have become aware of about yourself, you will hold them to as well. Mm-hmm. Because you do not want them to believe anything less about themselves than you know is true about them. So you cannot believe that you are being mean to someone else, but being kind to yourself, that you would never treat yourself the way you're treating them. It's absolute.
Right.
However you treat your brother, you do treat yourself that way. And if you will not let them off the hook for something, it is because you will not let yourself off the hook for that same thing under other circumstances. And you will not let them off the hook if you're going to be held accountable, because that's not fair. Mm. So, how do you get out of the bind of holding another to your best and worst concepts of yourself,